Hi guys, and welcome to the Business as Unusual show. It is Friday. We have nearly survived the week, so I hope you had a good one. I hope you have a beer in hand, non-alcoholic beer for me, in hand. This is the Business as Unusual show. We have a fantastic guest. We're going to be talking all things food in just a second. Let's have a quick look at what's been going on in the news this week before we do that. So this is a week that has seen the UK economy growing by 6.6% in July, and whilst there's still a long way to go, it does look promising for the recovery of our economy, which is great to see. In other news, better late than never, a new COVID contact tracing app will be launched across England and Wales on the 24th of September. In some unusual news, NASA have announced that they will be paying $15,000 to $25,000 for 500 grams of moon rock, and what's more, they're actually encouraging private businesses to go and mine this rock themselves. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people howling at that. Sorry, I'm really, really sorry. It's Friday, so let's get down to business as unusual. Hi everybody and welcome to the Business as Unusual show. If this is the first time you're tuning in, my name is Luke. I'm the CEO of Sleeping Giant Media and Giant Campus, and if you're on our social channels at the moment, please do check out the additional content that we've been putting out. So on YouTube, we've got a whole series of videos to either help you get started with your digital marketing or take your digital marketing to the next level. But enough of that. We're not talking about this today. We're not talking about that. We are talking about business as unusual. We started this show at the start of lockdown. We are now, what episode is this now? This is episode number 43. So we thought this would be a temporary show during kind of these mad times, but these mad times are continuing. So we thought we'd carry on doing the show. So today's guest, we have Stefano. Welcome, Stefano. How are you doing, sir?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, it's good.
Good. And could you just do a bit of an introduction to yourself and the business so we can dive into the various different topics that we've got lined up for today?
Yeah, of course I can. So I'm Stefano, surname's Cuomo, and my business is Macknade. We are a food and drink business, but we talk about favourite place, creating spaces that people come and enjoy and sort of share community with each other, very much around food and drink. We have a food hall at Faversham, which is based on what was my family's farm. And we have also opened up in perfect timing. We opened up in February, March, a new restaurant food hall in Ashford in the Elwood Place site, which for obvious reasons then had to close quite quickly. But we reopened in June and July. And so now it's a great team down there, and they're charging ahead with it with good support from the good folk of Ashford.
Yeah, I mean, it's just classic, isn't it? Timing wise, that's just really, really unfortunate to have the excitement of opening up and then immediately having to kind of close things down. How has the last 5 months been for you guys dealing with the challenges that have obviously kind of come up during COVID?
It's been good. I mean, again, I think as our main site hasn't closed. We're very fortunate in many ways. We look at it from a business perspective that as being food and drink, we were able to remain open. That obviously had operational issues with it, and certainly back in March seems like a lifetime away. We were continually dancing and diving and changing how we were working, but we have a fantastic team, and that's kind of what we do. And yes, creating space that people feel safe in. It's really never more relevant than has been in the last couple of months. And so now, as things have started to unwind and change in direction again, as I say, we've got Ashford back open. So yeah, it's been exciting. It's been difficult. It's been trying. It's been exhilarating. It's all these elements. The example we use more than anything else is quite relevant now because we're coming towards Christmas. Is the fact that we would, as a F&B business, as a food and drink business, Christmas was huge for us. You would know your 8th to the 24th, massive energy levels. The last sort of 3 or 4 days were manic, but then it would shut. We would shut for 3 or 4 days. Everyone would go to see their families, eat and drink too much, and relax. COVID's kind of been like that, but without that lovely, glorious final day to enjoy it. It's just been ongoing and brutal and exciting, and all those things. And And so yeah, it's been
Yeah,
interesting.
crazy times. Yeah. Comments in the chat already. Holly Cook saying, awesome products at the food hall. She goes there very often. So yeah. And again, looking at obviously the reviews you guys have got online, some fantastic service and products available there. What are the sort of the biggest changes that you had to make? So the 23rd of March comes around, everything goes into lockdown, and as you say, it's been absolutely mad for businesses trying to adapt to it. What are the biggest things that you've had to change to make things to be ready for obviously things opening up again?
Yeah, and I think as with any business, again, we're front facing. Yeah, we're physical. I mean, we're looking more and more digital now, and that's obviously something that has been accelerated through COVID. But you're very much front facing, and in effect, was as a retailer and restaurant, you tend to be the front end of a number, numerous supply chains. As I've mentioned before, we've got hundreds of suppliers, and so we have that sort of customer interaction. So those are the most visible changes. But also at the back end, there's an awful lot going on, and a good example of that is that in our retail space, in our cafes and restaurants, we had to close those down. So what we were finding was very quickly, our chefs, our team of front end cafe staff, were having to be moved into other roles within the business. And so you had changes like that, which everyone just jumping on and getting work done. And again, operationally, we moved from most of our customers, pretty much all our customers, coming to us and driving to us, coming through the front door, walking to us, etc., through to being at home and having to have their produce delivered. So again, just operation, massive change in how we were managing our supply chain and getting the service to our customers. With regards to the physical space, it's moved from open doors through to managed numbers into the business. We're now wearing masks, etc. Cleaning regimes. So all these elements, but continually, it's been about making sure that the experience that anyone is having through Macknade, with Macknade, those touch points have remain relevant and enjoyable. I'm just one of a broad team, and it's the team as a whole been incredible in making sure we deliver that Macknade experience. It's meant a lot to people, and we really, we've had that love back to us as well, and it means a lot. It has been put in.
That's fantastic to hear, and I think it's the businesses that seem to be taking the time to really focus on those, that kind of real attention to detail that I think will benefit kind of long term. So it's great to hear. I was also thinking the other day that in marketing we talk about touch point analysis, and obviously there's the one version, but now in the COVID world, it feels like there's another layer of touch point analysis in terms of the actual physical touch points within a shop, within a store, wherever you go, to kind of make sure it's a safe experience. And there's a lot of things. We are able to work kind of remotely, so it's quite simple. It was simpler for us in terms of the logistics, but I dread to imagine the work that has to go around thinking about sort of customer journeys through the shops. What are the sort of lessons that you've learned from it? What are the things that you think that you might try to do more of, or actually something that a lot of businesses I speak to, they've uncovered almost efficiencies. By doing this, they've had to work more efficiently to get more done in less time. And they've carried that forward. Is there anything that you've uncovered during this process that you're like, actually, that works really well?
And again, I think it's the strength of our team is fantastic. But I suppose what we've touched on there is this idea of productivity, and absolutely, I think every business who's been able to operate through it, and indeed those who haven't, and so reassessed it, have looked at productivity, and certainly we found that, and that was the case that in the first weeks and months we had a smaller team, as I said, had reduced down. We then had to take a view with regards to overhead and cost, and the government furlough scheme, I think, was important for us. We had to bring everyone back in, but I think one of the key elements about the productivity side of it, as well as realising how much more effectively we could work, there was the element of burnout as well. So it's been great to say, how can we do things more effectively? And just seeing how willingly a team will support each other. But it's also, perhaps more importantly, over more recent months, is unpicking the areas where actually, there is a saving there, but it's not a realistic long-term gain. And actually getting in smarter processes. And I think that for us is now a key aspect of it, is we've had some clear wins, but actually understanding, well, is that suitable for the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months, and getting the balance
really
between
good
the two.
point. Yeah, I love that. Actually, it's a conversation, similar conversation. Is like there's some efficiencies created, but to whose expense, and is it sustainable?
Yes. You talk about keeping our customers happy, comfortable, safe in the environment we're in. But I mean, equally important has been looking after the team and making sure, not only from a COVID point of view, but just from a work balance, that everyone was all hands on deck in those early days. But actually, we've got to sustain this. Yeah, it's continually changing. It's a shifting environment, and not just physically, but mentally to deal with that. It can take a toll if it's not managed effectively.
Yeah.
I think we've got a great management team that does
Exactly,
so.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you were talking about the Christmas example that you used, the analogy, where often there's normally a really piece of hard work, hard graft, the team kind of battle on, but with the end result being that time off and a really nice relaxing time. And I think there's a challenge that businesses are facing at the moment where there doesn't feel like there's that end goal as such. It just feels like it's just an ongoing thing. And I think the next few weeks could be interesting. But anyway, we're going to come back to that. We're going to hold there for just 1 second and go to a slightly more light-hearted topic. We're going to challenge you now on your food knowledge. Okay, so again, there's some pretty random questions in here. I'm not going to lie, but hopefully this could reveal some interesting insights into the food sector. So, first question: according to a YouGov survey, what meat is the most popular choice for a Sunday roast? Stefano, what do we think?
I didn't poke you, but I was wondering where the nut roast was on there. I mean, I understand that it's not meat, but I thought that was the whole
I'm
theme.
disappointed to see it has even reached the top four. I'm disappointed. What can I say?
Okay, let me go. I don't know. Chicken.
Have a look. Beef. Would you believe? Would you believe it? And guys, and again on the chat, feel free to play along as we go. And any questions as well that you have for Stefano, please do put them in the chat. We can come back to that when we come out of this quiz. Question number 2: visiting which fast food joint has become a Christmas tradition in Japan?
Christmas tradition, unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, that's globalization for you, I suppose. Maybe it's juxtaposed the quality food they then eat on Christmas Day itself.
You never know. At one stage, it might be that you've moved into a different franchise model. That could be your name up there. You just never know. It might be, it might be the 2021 goal.
Brilliant. I see you say that joking, but in Faversham and Nashville, it's lovely to hear it. It's become more and more of a tradition for people. The idea of queuing in a queue at Macknade almost seems acceptable in 24. But
it's the new John Lewis Christmas advert.
So then we're going to go for. Let's keep the chicken theme, shall we? I say chicken in the loosest sense, the KFC.
Yeah, they do a really good vegan burger, incidentally. Right, it is correct.
Don't tell me a vegan burger from a chicken joint. I can't believe that. I mean,
you can. So they do a vegan burger, which is it's got all the flavors, all the sort of the seasoning. I said I wouldn't do this, didn't I? Okay, but incidentally, their chips aren't vegan.
You're going to get battered for it. The vegan who goes into the dark arts of KFC is not really chickens. But in all fairness, the soy that they probably feed the chickens, will go into the burger as well. So I mean, it's all linked. It's good.
Well, exactly. Well, look, vegans need fast food as well. All right, don't leave us out of that. So that's all I'm saying. Just don't discriminate.
Levels of quality is what I'm saying. I have nothing wrong with fast food. There's levels of quality and provenance.
You are not wrong about that. I don't want to ask any questions about that, actually. Moving on to this question number 3. How many loaves of bread does the average household in the UK buy annually?
Annually, 50.
Let's have a look. 43.
With
a fantastic cat gif getting stuck in a loaf of bread. It's business as unusual. That's what we're here for. Moving on, question number 4. Which unlikely game held their first esports league in 2019?
I don't even know what they are. I don't know.
So the only one I know is Overcooked. Have you got a PlayStation at all? Or I don't know if it's on other platforms.
No, I don't.
No, you need to check this one out. This is a fantastic game, Overcooked. We used to play. Again, I'm going to reminisce here. Used to play this back in the office, and the objective is an order comes in, and then there's 4 chefs so each of you are controlling a chef, and each of you has to kind of do a particular job. So you can chop the lettuce, chop the meat, cook the burger type thing, and then you have to then build it all and then serve it up before the time goes out or before you burn things. The amount of shouting that we saw in the office, and
so who was Overcooked champion in the office?
Well, there was a chap called Dennison who doesn't work for us anymore, but he was particularly condescending as a sort of head chef. He would kind of just be kind of looking down his nose at everybody. He's like, I need
Yeah,
some
the head
lettuce.
chef.
I need some, and he was just shouting basically at people. So he really sticks out in my mind. But again, there's a lot of people just shouting and screaming with no purpose, just as stuff was burning. But anyway,
That's
that's the only one I
that's
know.
chef. Well, let's go with Farming Simulator.
Farming
Nothing but
Simulator. Let's
farming.
have a look. Oh my goodness, me nailed
Okay.
it.
Okay. Straight
Esports.
in.
That's interesting.
Everyone wants to be a farmer. That's the thing, It's even digitally. That's
Apparently
what
so.
attaches us
That
back to
looks pretty cool,
humanity.
actually.
It's good.
I'm liking those screenshots there. I might have to check that one out. Never know. Question number 5. How many men would it take? Sorry. How many men would it take 1 week to do what a large tractor can do in 1 day?
Now, of course, yes, men and women, right? Or
I
we
was
be
going to say, that's why
specific.
I was like, is it
It's
how many people?
how many people? Actually, let's go with I don't know, 35.
35. Let's have a look. 100 people. Oh, John dear. Thank you, producer Alex, for the little pun at the end there. Very, very clever. Right. Where do we carry on from that? Oh my god, we've missed it. It's the halfway mark. Hold on, I'll be back in just 1 second. It's the halfway mark. Mark Strong there. Chipping in for the halfway mark. We're flying through. Just before we went to the game, we were talking about sort of the.
Do you have a selection of marks for that though?
We
Did you bring a different one?
We do.
You do.
We still need more marks. So if you know any famous marks or semi-famous marks, just let us know, because we are very keen to get more marks to rotate them.
Mark.
Yeah.
Local mark.
Yeah, we do. Again. So just even if you've got people that come into your store and they're called Mark, just ask if you can take a photo, and then we can kind of.
We're putting the front part of the COVID check. Yeah, just yeah. Track and trace marks. We're track and tracing marks. Yeah.
There we go. We could definitely do something with that. So yeah, we were just before we were going into the quiz, we were talking about sort of the longer term implications and kind of impacts on mental health. What do you think the long term impacts are? Difficult to say, I know, but what do you think will we see in the sort of the food and beverage sector? What changes do you think the ones that might stick for longer?
Well, I mean, again, we were discussing earlier on, but there were already shifts in both high street and hospitality. I mean, the high street's a bit more generalised, I suppose. But I think if we start with food first, we've seen a lot of people coming in and interested in the provenance of their food, and interested in cooking. I think Instagram, Facebook, other platforms where people are able to share hobbies and share what they're doing in lockdown has really sort of supported baking, cooking, which again in its own right has a certain tranquility. And when things aren't going so well, that self-sufficiency of being able to cook for yourself and for your family is quite powerful. And so we've seen an uplift in people interested in the quality of the product and cooking at home. So I think that is something that will absolutely carry on going forward. And that's been coupled with the fact that for several months people couldn't go out and about and eat out of the home. And so that's something that is clearly there to stay. I think that there is an appreciation of that. I don't know. I mean, I think there was a perception to a certain degree for a lot of people that the independent sector was sort of overpriced because they were independents. They just they weren't a great chain, couldn't trust. And then people come into a store like ours at Faversham or Ashwood and buy a bit of meat, bit of veg. Is often competitive, but at times it is more expensive because there is a better quality and the flavour is more intense and the texture and mouthfeel. And then the guys behind the counters will explain where the product comes from. And there's a whole load more value involved in food in that way that again I don't think a lot of people were fully aware about. And it's because of the pressures on the supply chain back in March that supermarkets were struggling, deliveries, etc. It has pushed people into new retail spaces, particularly around grocery, that they might not have otherwise visited. And for us, that's been very. I think it gets people closer to the provenance of their food and to how it's produced, which again, touches on the elements around veganism and the popularity and how that's growing. And I'm not making that comment just because I know it's something that
you said that. Not nothing.
But it's a conversation, Johnny. I think far more people are having that conversation around how they eat, why they eat, and it's important. With regards to perhaps more practical around the high street and the town centre, the sense of community and what that really means. We've been seeing it for a while. I think a lot of real estate has been overvalued, particularly in hospitality, and so from landlords perhaps having expectations of returns that weren't suitable to the business model. And so I hope there's a revision of that and sort of this idea that supports SMEs to be able to be more sustainable, working more closely with landlord expectations. And so again, I'm sure there's still quite some problems to go as we move into the coming months. COVID alone, Brexit, etc. But that we do come out and start to value that physical space in a way perhaps that we hadn't. And that you will see sort of a resurgence of certainly a strong, vibrant SME sector that not only brings sort of a value to the community, but also has innovation that drives sort of retail and hospitality.
I think that really sounds positive in the sense that if people are a bit more aware of the food that they're eating, where it's come from, there's that understanding of the impact that has, which I think is something on an environmental level really important, that people didn't necessarily know what was kind of quite involved. When it comes to the shopping experience, the high street, what sorts of what do you think that, again, may not be related to COVID? It was almost a trend that the high street was obviously in the news a lot. There were some challenges that the high street was facing. What do you think will be the way that people interact with those spaces, those high street spaces? How will that change long term when obviously we have got access to deliveries as well? You're frozen on my screen. I don't know if you're there, but we'll carry on anyway, just in case.
Sure.
So how do you think those sort of spaces might change?
It seems strange in COVID times where where touch and engagement is being limited, and rightly so from a safety point of view. But I think it is that experience that physical space can create. And I think also it's not only that; it is that sort of that seamless move from digital into physical space, and the experience is delivered in a different manner, but with the same quality. And that's always been, again, and that's what we do. I mean, we're about experience. We talk about create favourite place, and that's about people coming together, people meeting, conversing, learning, and again, food and drinks at the heart of that for us. And I think we will see more of that. I mean, it's like hairdressers in Ashford. I hadn't realised. I think it's the most densely hairdressed town in the country. But we will love that. We will love that moment of being able to go out, treat ourselves. It's that little bit of interaction, a bit of a treat you can do. You have sort of once a month. In my case, I'm sure more often but I think that's what we'll see is those actual interactions that the community centres have. I'm no doubt there will be more people living as well. And certain towns, when you look at medieval units, for example, some of the medieval market towns, I think there are probably too many small retail units in that sense. And you can just imagine how that starts to converse more towards urban living in the town centre with a mixture of retail and leisure units as well as potential office space as well. And it actually starts to look at quite a real vibrant community in perhaps a way that historically been lost. So I think they have a huge amount of relevance. And yes, to be perfectly frank, I think the human experience is about interaction and personal engagement, and town centres are the best place to do that.
Absolutely, yeah. And I guess with that change, with that sort of focus on that sort of experience rather than the function of shopping, which I think obviously the high street was originally around for, what sort of opportunities do you see in the future for either businesses like yours or other businesses? How do you think those opportunities will pan out?
We're looking at Ashford. Obviously, was a great step for us, and we'll be doing more there. We're now looking at the site as well as we look to the next 2-3 years, and it is very much the opportunity is I think working with engaged landlords. Ashford a case there. I think the council have been proactive in how in what they've looked to do in the town, moving forward with that. I think you see the same in Folkestone in your neck of the woods, and with how the offer is evolving there. And so as a result, if you have a product that I think really gives a sense of place to somewhere, then I think the real opportunities there. I think when we then start to discuss values, and is it just cash value? Well, I don't think it is anymore. I think there are some of the bigger stakeholders, the landlords, recognise that it's not just a return through finances that is important. It's about the fabric. It's about the creation of community. And I think businesses that can value in that sense are certainly going to have opportunities where they weren't necessarily.
Fantastic. Just to comment there, just say we're having a few bandwidth issues, I believe, your end there, Stefano. But hopefully, I think we can still hear you. And Joni, no, it's not your Norfolk signal kicking out. But yes, I think it's this end. So what we're going to quickly do, so I'm just going to jump to this game. This is Status Quote. We love a quote on the show, and I think it's it also tells us a lot about you as well. This is called status quote, where you have to choose. We're going to show you three quotes, three different quotes, and one of them you like, one of them you love, and one of them you want to avoid. So it's the snog, marry, avoid quotes. I'll read them through. Let's have a quick look. The first one. So, just don't give up trying to do what you really want to do. Where there is love and inspiration, I don't think you can go wrong. From Ella Fitzgerald. How's that one? Does that sort of sound good so far? Obviously, we're going to do all of them first, but
Love and inspiration. Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
okay. Quote number 2: "You're never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." C.S. Lewis, who wrote Narnia, age 51. Second quote.
There you go. Brilliant.
And quote number 3: "So sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory." Dr. Zeus. Zeus? Zeus. It's Zeus, isn't it? So, right, let's have a look at those three quotes. Which one? So we got one of them you love, one of them you like, one of them you want to avoid. So snog, marry, avoid. So the first one is just don't give up trying to do what you really want to do, where there is love and inspiration.
Let's jump to the last one. Let's avoid the
Avoid
last one. Yeah?
one. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the other one's love or what's
So like or love, snog or marry.
Right. Okay.
So we got the
I love the first one. Let's go love the first one, like the second
so
one.
love.
That,
Sorry,
yeah?
love the first one, like the second one.
Working with love and inspiration, I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, that's got me that line right there. Yeah, food and drink fits right bang in that as well, and that's what we're about. Love and inspiration. I'll be honest, it's part of what managing. I don't want to talk about business too much, but that's what for me is kind of the primary objective in business. I mean, I was very fortunate. I grew up in a fantastic. I grew up on a farm, fantastic family, and yeah, I always get that warm, cuddly feeling. And I think through business, that's just something we try and create. Is if we can create that sense of love and inspiration that you get from a sort of a rich family background, then that's as Ella says, you can't go wrong, right?
What a absolutely brilliant justification for why that is the one for you. No, I love it. Really, really good. So just looking into or so maybe get opportunity to quickly shout out any businesses, any people, anything that that you think over the last few months they've been doing a fantastic job that's worth kind of shouting about.
Yeah, just going to said to you guys before, we work with hundreds of businesses, fantastic ones. I mean, Kent is absolutely full of them. So I'm not quite sure I can sort of pluck them out, but I suppose I sat down with the guys in Producing Kent yesterday, and perhaps it's the Locating Kents of this world, the Producing Kents of this world, that actually around the county we do get a lot of support from, and I think times like this have been really good, and shouting about Kent and what we have here, and just linking people together, those kind of networks and understanding who's about, who should be talking to who. So yeah, some of those Producing Kent guys, shout them out and shout them out.
Shout them out.
I mean, I've got the lingo, mate. I tell you.
So you're an ex-radio DJ, just didn't even know it.
Yeah. And again, Locating Kent, again, particularly with regards to Ashford, being great support. And if Gary's out there, Gary gave us a lot of help in Ashford. He was very much involved in Elwood Place, and was instrumental in pushing us forward with regards to that site.
Amazing. Yeah, actually both have been on the show the amount of work. I mean, obviously they've had a ridiculously busy time trying to do what they can to try to lessen the impact or help people reinvent during that phase. So yeah, some great businesses to shout out as well. That is us. We're nearly out of time. Stefano, you've been an absolute star. A few technical gaps there, but all good. It's part of the live show experience, and I'm absolutely loving the quote that and the rationale behind the quote, and just genuinely wish you the best of luck with whatever happens next within the business. And you've clearly got some fans in the chat. There's a lot of people who've loving the store and looking forward to kind of getting back or utilising it whenever they can as well. So thank you very much for coming on the show.
No, not at all. Thank you. And again, we get a lot of support and we really appreciate it. It's food and drinks. It's a great industry to be in, but it's a lot of pride that the way people support us. So thanks, we appreciate it.
Brilliant. Cheers. Right, guys, that is it from us. Happy Friday. I hope you either have a beer in hand or will be planning to get one in your hand a bit later on. We will be back again next Wednesday. So same time, 4:30 next Wednesday. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We're living in some crazy and strange times, but it's just becoming business as unusual.